So the Deebo Samuel and Washington Commanders trade takes yet another interesting turn as the Washington Commanders continue to show that this is a true low risk and high reward move. The Washington Commanders and Deebo Samuel just agreed upon new conditions that prove just that. Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career and he's already milking injuries, like...
Stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We on the Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with a video where we're going to be talking about the major update involving Deebo Samuel and the Washington Commanders. What does this mean for the Washington Commanders, and could a new move potentially be down the pipeline for the burgundy and gold? So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so I'd be greatly appreciate if y'all help me get there as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight to it. So the Washington Commanders again made the trade for Deebo Samuel. We already know that. We already seen Deebo Samuel picked Uno for his jersey number here. In my opinion, though, I would have went with 19. I felt like 19 was more of Deebo Samuel's number, and I felt like that was when he was really at his peak. But neither here nor there. More important details. Washington Commanders continue to stress the point that this is a true one-year deal for Deebo Samuel. This is a low-risk, high-reward potential when it comes to Deebo Samuel. And again, Adam Peters being here is probably the sole reason why we went out and got Deebo Samuel and took a true risk on him. Similar to signing Javon Kinlaw in free agency to a multi-year deal, it was solely because of our general manager. The 49ers clearly was fed up with him and didn't want nothing to do with him, and he wanted to request a trade. And he even had other teams interested, but again, what separated us from those other teams was Adam Peters knows him, and that's the biggest reason why I'm trusting this deal, is because our general manager knows Deebo Samuel, know the real Deebo, and can get the best out of him. Now, let's talk about this new update and this new deal. So, per Adam Schefter, it says a rework deal for Deebo and DC. The Commanders are guaranteeing $17 million, a Deebo Samuel's previously non-guaranteed salary for this season, along with adding another $3 million worth of incentives per sources. Samuel now will play this season on a one-year deal worth up $20 million, including $17 million guaranteed. Samuel's agent Tory Dandy and Commanders GM Adam Peters negotiated the deal. So that's very interesting because, you know, I believe Brandon Salsner is the guy that typically, works with contract negotiations and stuff like that, or specifically we have someone on the staff that does that. And I'm sure Adam Peters had them in his corner as well. But to say Adam Peters negotiated this deal kind of, again, just drives home the point that he's really all in for a guy like Deebo Samuel. And it's not nothing surprising because look at all the moves that Adam Peters made since being here in Washington. And we can even just go back to the Marshawn Lattimore trade. He loves every single piece that he's added. I mean, when Marshawn Lattimore made his debut in New Orleans, he gave him a big hug and, spun him around and stuff like that. And then just looking at all how he cares for the players that he drafted and stuff like that. Now, obviously, he wants to be right on the picks and he wants them to feel, love. So I'm sure that's why he's doing it. But it's also the kind of person that Adam Peters is. And that's why, again, I love what he's doing, because he's moving in the right way for this organization that's never been done before. And with Deebo Samuel now basically on a one-year deal, again, it continues to prove the point that they're all in on Deebo Samuel for this year. They're all in with pushing all the chips forward for this one season without having to tie yourself to a long-term deal. And this is the way we have been operating for the last 2 seasons, really, and more specifically this offseason. A lot of us expected the Washington Commanders to come into this offseason and spin, 3-year contract here, 3-year contract there, and quite frankly, it hasn't been that. Have we had interest in the big name guys? Yes, of course, but we have not settled on none of the big name guys outside of Deebo and Laremy Tunsil because they want too much money, or they just picked another team. And as I stated before plenty times, how I think Adam Peters is building his roster is on a year-by-year basis. That's why Deebo Samuel isn't getting a long-term deal. That's why Laramie Tunsil was not going to get a long-term deal or a contract extension further past what he already has until we see he's worthy of it. And that's how it should be. You shouldn't guarantee a player a 3-year deal if you don't even know what they're going to be in your new spot. That's what we did so wrong in the past. And we've talked about that ad nauseum, bro. Albert Haynesworth, Deion Sanders, Josh Norman, you could name it. So many terrible contracts for players that ultimately did not deserve it and ultimately, just turned out to be garbage. And we were stuck paying those guys because of terrible contracts. Now, Adam Peters is not like that. I don't care if your name's Deebo Samuel. I don't care if you're the 30th man off the bench. You're going to have to work for what you want. And a 1-year deal for Deebo Samuel, pushing all of his guaranteed money to this season is so smart. That way, he's off of the books completely in 2026. If you want to go that route, if he does not pan out, and he does not work out, and he's not what we took a chance on, he's completely off the books in 2026. You don't have to pay him nothing, no guarantees, no incentives. It's all pushed to this season, which is so smart for both sides. Deebo Samuel gets the guaranteed money that he wants for this year, $17 million this year guaranteed. And the Washington Commanders get to have all of the money pushed to this year's season. That way, again, if it doesn't pan out, they can easily just wash their hands clean with Deebo Samuel. So I also read that it helps Washington's salary cap get pushed back around $30 million. Could that mean Washington is opening up opportunity to make another move? Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm off the Trey Hendrickson train as of right now. I would love Trey Hendrickson, but I don't see no urgency, or I don't see anything with us surrounding him anymore. All I keep saying is he's gonna work out a deal with Cincinnati, which is fine at this point. And how I think Joe Witt Jr.'s defense, or how we're building this roster, I don't think that they want to necessarily give up the draft capital for Trey Hendrickson. I'm sure they would love the talent of Trey Hendrickson. If he was a free agent, I'm sure we would have paid him back. The fact that we have to give up draft capital and then still rework a deal out and give him an extension, we're probably not in that kind of ballpark anymore. But I think the next two possible moves that is realistic for Washington is, one, reworking a Terry McLaurin extension, giving him the money he deserves. And that, quite frankly, fits around the $30 million, $33 million range that we could potentially be at. Or we're making room for our draft picks. Now, again, we weren't in salary cap hell after all of our moves, so it ain't like we didn't have the money to pay the draft picks. But, of course, there's better to be comfortable than to be just get by. So those are the two kind of deals that I think make sense if we in fact are getting money back on the salary cap after this deal, which what I read. So those are the two only possible ways I could see them doing something this season. Now, of course, the salary cap can maybe go for the future plans, stuff like that, and post June 1 cuts, maybe stuff like that. But in this terms of now, I think the only two options that are feasible is a Terry McLaurin extension, or getting money, continuing to stack up bread for our draft picks, which we'll have 5, but you never know, we may trade back, end up having 7, 8 draft picks. You never know, undrafted free agents, stuff like that. So I think what we're doing is moving financially smart while also building the best team possible, which is the best of both worlds, and which we have been wanting to do for a long time now, and what all the great teams in the NFL do. Yes, they pay their star guys. They make their star guys earn it. But they also move in a financial smart way that doesn't damage the future of the team, while also maintaining a team that is still able to compete for Lombardis. And that's the simple way that we're approaching it. And I also wanted to make the point, and I talked about this last night on the Burgundy Breakdown, so make sure y'all check that out. It's under the live tab on the channel, Reedy Z. Me and John from Burgundy, Ballin' and Burgundy podcast. I talked about this. What if their whole plan of getting Deebo Samuel was for him to be the true number 2 receiver? Now, I get it. I get it. As soon as we sign and trade for Deebo Samuel, the immediate reaction is we still need more. that was my reaction, and that was a lot of you all's reaction in the comment section. We still need more. We still need more. We still need more at the receiver position. But what if their whole idea was for him to come in and be the number 2 receiver? Now, it's hard for me to fathom that because of how talented he is as an overall football player. But Deebo Samuel wants to be looked at more as a wide receiver than a running back or than a gadget guy. So he wants to be looked at more as a wide receiver. We haven't really done any wide receiver transactions since the Deebo Samuel trade, outside of bringing back Noah Brown, outside of bringing back KJ Osborne. And none of those 2 players we think of as true receiver 2s. Now, I love what Noah Brown brought to the table. I think he could be a quality number 3, maybe 4. But I definitely think Noah Brown's a good weapon to have, especially he played higher than he needed to last season, and he showed flashes. So I expect Noah Brown to be really solid. But again, you don't look at him as the number 2 option, number 2 receiver. And the lack of transactions that we made since the Deebo Samuel trade has kind of made me hint that. And now we could still go into the draft and maybe find a receiver, but we aren't addressing it no further. And you look at the Devontae Adams, the Cooper Kupp deals and stuff like that, it's all around the $17-20 million range, what we're essentially paying Deebo Samuel, which is wide receiver 2 money at this point. It kind of hints at that's probably what they're going in at as. Maybe we don't have a legit number 2 receiver because our number 2 overall weapon is just that deadly. Maybe that's the thought process as well. Deebo Samuel's that deadly as a receiver, running back, gadget guy, whatever you may have you, that we don't need a legit number 2. That Noah Brown could technically be posed as the number 2. Doesn't mean he's the number 2 overall weapon in the offense, but he may be the number 2 receiver because Deebo Samuel's just moved around and he's that good. Or maybe they expect a jump from KJ Osborne or Luke McCaffrey or something like that. But it's very hard for me to believe that they have that much faith in this receiving core right now. But maybe that's their thought process. Maybe that's why we haven't necessarily got more receivers. Now, again, we brought back 2 guys, but not nobody that we have went out and got outside of Deebo Samuel. You have veterans out there like Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I necessarily think we should go all in for those guys or we don't have no interest in them, but I'm just saying those are some of the names that are still out there, but we haven't really, budged at getting those kind of guys at the moment. So does that mean we're fine and content with our receiving core the way it is? We'll see. It's probably still early because the draft isn't here yet, but it's still kind of hard for me to believe that they're fine with this receiving core the way it is. But again, this is a little update. Deebo Samuel and Washington makes another change in this trade, and I think it's obviously continuing to being for the better of the Washington Commanders. You get Deebo Samuel in a 1-year trial. If he balls out, if he's a dog, if he lives up to everything that we think he can, you give him a contract extension, lock him down for 2-3 years, and we'll be good to go. If not, wash your hands clean, move on, and go find another receiver in the draft next year or free agency next year if you have to. But let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. How do you think Washington is handling this Deebo Samuel trade? Do you agree with the way that they're moving? Do you agree with this reconstruction of a contract? And what do you think Washington is doing this for? Do you think they're planning something else? Or do you think it's nothing else Washington's going to do as far as free agency and we're all focused on the draft? Leave it down below in the comment section. Slim as always, me, your boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So we greatly appreciate if you want to reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. God bless. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a laundry.